Before this officer even realizes who he's about to wake up, what looks like a routine welfare check quickly turns into a case that shocks an entire community. A man is found unconscious in his car, appearing to choke in his sleep, but what officers notice next completely changes the direction of the encounter. As the investigation unfolds, questions about addiction, accountability, and public trust take center stage. Watch closely, because this body cam footage isn't just about an arrest. It's about how officers balance compassion with enforcing the law when someone in obvious distress also appears to have committed a crime. Pay attention to the officer's calm demeanor throughout the interaction and ask yourself, would you have handled this situation the same way?
Well, a rescue's gonna come check you out, man. I can't let you go. You were literally choking in your sleep. Somebody flagged me down about it.
Oh, I have sleep apnea. I'm sorry.
Well, and then you have a crack pipe in your hands.
A city councilman in Cranston, Rhode Island faces a drug charge after a police officer finds him sleeping in his car with a crack pipe in his hand. Thanks for joining us here on Law and Crime. I'm Anjanette Levy. That Cranston police officer's body camera recorded the interaction he had with Councilman Matthew Riley earlier this week. Take a look. You can see Riley sleeping, his mouth wide open as the officer approaches. Riley has a lighter and a pipe in his hand. The officer rouses him from his sleep.
You have any weapons on you?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
All right.
Road's open, Boston.
You're gonna stop. Try not to.
Routine on.
Oh, no way, dude. Really?
Yes, yes. I was just on my way back from court.
Bro. Well, a rescue's gonna come check you out, man. I can't let you go. You were literally choking in your sleep. Somebody flagged me down about it.
Oh, I have sleep apnea. I'm sorry.
Well, and then you have a crack pipe in your hands, so it's like...
Wait, sorry.
Listen, I have a body camera. Obviously,
Yeah,
everything
obviously.
I have is recorded. You know that, and what I've observed is on camera, so I can't pretend I didn't. You know, so a rescue's gonna come here,
Oh,
and
Jesus.
they're gonna check you out. You know, as far as I know, there's no drugs anywhere, so I
No.
can't. You know, so there's not a criminal investigation. There's more a health or well-being check type
Thank
thing.
you.
But yeah, I obviously have to document it. You know. You can have that back.
Thank you. There will be no arrest.
What?
There will be no arrest.
No. Are there any drugs in the car or anything like that?
No, nothing.
All right.
The officer questions Riley about his drug use. He's forthcoming and discusses struggling with addiction.
This is one of the most important moments in the entire encounter. Instead of immediately becoming confrontational, the officer shifts into information-gathering mode, trying to understand not only what happened, but whether there's an immediate medical emergency. Notice how the questions focus on recent drug use, possible fentanyl exposure, and Riley's physical condition. That's significant because today's officers often have to treat overdoses as medical crises before criminal investigations. Riley openly admits relapsing after more than a decade of sobriety, adding an emotional layer that many viewers may not expect. Addiction recovery is rarely a straight line, and stressful life events can become powerful triggers. But even with sympathy for someone's struggles, officers are still required to investigate evidence that's plainly in front of them. What do you think? Should situations like this prioritize treatment over prosecution, or should both happen together?
How long have you had this problem, man?
It was a relapse. I've been clean for 13 years.
All right.
Just went through a really, really bad divorce recently.
Okay. Do you know if any of that was laced with fentanyl or anything? Because you were out, and like looked like you were choking.
Really?
Yeah. That's why somebody literally sprinted and flagged me down because they thought you were having a heart attack or choking.
No, not that I know of.
EMTs arrive to check out Riley as the police officers search his vehicle, which is littered with trash and junk. The officer found a Chore Boy scouring pad in the glove box. Chore Boy is made of copper and metal. Drug users sometimes use a Chore Boy to make a crack pipe.
You got a test kit?
Yeah.
So it's over here.
A second officer arrives. They approach the vehicle to test suspected drugs found in the car.
What's wrong with this guy? Your whole life. Down the drain for what?
So you don't know him at all? You guys don't?
No, I've never met him in my life. We'll probably dig out just a smaller little rock so we don't have to break anything.
If we get a little bit with the
The powder?
yeah. I'll do it. I'll touch it. Forget it.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward. Be careful, because he was on the nod, or like, it seemed like anyways.
It's mixed with something else, but...
Do you need this knife?
Yeah, let me use that.
Be careful with that stuff. I don't know if that's fentanyl laced or not. There's white all over there. He doesn't know.
Yeah, I was just telling him the same thing, because, I mean, you don't fall asleep usually from completely, you know, it's not an opiate usually.
Yeah.
It's
This
pure.
is enough.
He claims he was tired and he may have sleep apnea, but I don't think that's gonna.
Especially like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, only climbed a lot, too. It's like...
Now the investigation becomes much more methodical. The officers aren't jumping to conclusions. They're carefully documenting everything, testing suspected substances, and treating unknown powders as potentially dangerous. That's especially important today because fentanyl contamination has dramatically increased the risks officers face during searches. You'll notice them avoiding unnecessary contact with suspicious materials and photographing evidence before moving it. These procedures aren't just about building a criminal case, they're also about protecting everyone on scene, including EMS personnel, jail staff, and anyone who might later come into contact with the vehicle. The discussion between officers also shows how experience influences investigations, as they compare what they're observing with past narcotics cases. Do you think these officers appear cautious enough? Or would you have wanted to see even more safety precautions?
Stick out like a sore thumb.
Well,
Right away.
fentanyl.
Coke.
Yeah.
Crack. Pop for crack. I can test it for fentanyl, too.
Test it for both, just to make
All right.
sure, because I don't know what we're dealing with.
Well, can you just snap a picture of that?
Especially if we're gonna put him in a cell.
The sergeant on scene tells the officers to charge Riley. Then they look at a white powder on his driver's seat.
He wants to have his mother come get the car, but I'm not gonna.
I wouldn't have.
No, not getting in there, touching all that white powder. That's a piece
That
of
could be a
crack.
big piece of
Yeah,
crack,
yeah, that's definitely crack.
Yeah, yeah, most likely.
Yeah, you can smell it, and he's burning up.
He has a bunch of toy boy and...
Should we have it towed?
Looks
No,
like he's
I
like
have
half
to-
living out of his car.
Not
There's
some
like
private property.
toiletries.
We're good. We're on private property. And this guy's
Yeah, look at this.
He's got a problem.
I'll do all the evidence stuff for you.
Thank you. All right, so is he rescue's good with him?
They're just finishing up right
he's
now.
got the Brillo and everything over there.
Yep.
You see it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's on. It's all.
They're finishing up right now.
That was in his glove compartment.
The first officer on scene also removed a crack pipe from Riley's vehicle. Riley appears to be okay after leaving EMTs and talking to the officer.
Yeah, I know. It's not like I have an option here, man. Sorry.
No, you got anything on you? Anything in your pants or anything?
I got gloves on.
Can't put the-
All right.
There's stuff all over that car. When your mother gets in that car, I bet she sits in that, touches her face or mouth and goes down.
I had no
That's-
idea there was anything down there.
So, look,
No, I mean the fentanyl.
yeah, you don't know what you're buying.
Yeah.
Did you buy that today?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. And
Yeah.
You don't, is the same guy you usually buy it from?
I don't really usually buy it off anybody.
They're not all honest people.
No, I mean,
Once or twice.
yeah, but whoever you buy it from, if you continuously buy it from them, you know who you're buying it from. You don't know what people are putting in it.
No, I understand.
You know, they may have made that, but that's a big rock you got in there. What's that, a $50 piece?
100.
100?
Yeah,
So,
I just got back into this.
yeah, you gotta, this is gonna, listen, this is terrible situation. We're all in a tough spot, but we gotta do what we gotta do right by the numbers. It'll help you in the end. Believe me when I tell you. And you'll say to us a month from now, good, best thing that ever happened to me. That's what they all tell us. You can't go down this road anymore.
No,
God
I
forbid we
wasn't
find
going
you
to.
dead. That's terrible. You know what I mean? And you were down in the car.
No, I mean, I have an appointment set up for the 7th.
This exchange stands out because the officer temporarily steps away from enforcement and speaks directly to Riley as another human being. Rather than focusing only on the charges, He emphasizes recovery, health, and the consequences addiction can have on every part of someone's life, including family, career, and reputation. Officers receive varying levels of crisis intervention and de-escalation training, and moments like this demonstrate how communication can sometimes have a lasting impact beyond the arrest itself. At the same time, the legal process doesn't stop simply because someone expresses remorse. Accountability and compassion aren't necessarily opposites. They often happen simultaneously in situations like this. As you watch, consider whether this conversation feels genuine or whether it's simply part of standard police procedure.
Yeah. You gotta get on a program right away.
No,
I look at you, you're not the Matt Riley that we know. Trust me. And listen, your health and your well-being is worth way more than any political career.
Riley then expresses his concern about the media finding out about his arrest.
We don't report nothing to the media unless someone tells them. So, and then arrest records are public record. I'm not going to lie to you. But
we can do for the kids.
there's not much we can do on this. Unfortunately, if I was in your situation, I'd be in handcuffs.
No, I'm not saying.
You know?
I'm not saying don't arrest me.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
yeah.
In terms of media for the kids, as much as
Yeah, no,
keep
listen,
quiet.
we are only required to release what we release, and we have to release an arrest record by law, you know. All right, jump in before you. We just want to make sure we got to monitor you because you've taken in some
I'm going to pat you down again, all right?
You've taken in some fentanyl, Matt, and that's you know, we've got to make sure you may not feel it right now, but God forbid something happens to you.
Yeah, no, I've never done that
feel
before,
terrible
so.
about that, you know. I mean, you're not going to be there all day. You'll be in and out.
I'm going to keep your wallet with me. I have your phone already. You want me to throw this stuff in the car real quick?
Sure.
All right. Just step on in here. I'll buckle you up. Oh, wait.
Matt, who's going
wrong
to come
side.
get that
I
car
thought this
out?
is a full cage.
What's that?
Getting in a second. Who's going to come get this car out, though?
I would.
Huh?
I would.
All right. Listen, you got to clean the car out.
Oh, God. It's supposed to be going back in tomorrow.
Oh.
My car's getting fixed.
Oh, this isn't even your car?
No, it's a
Oh,
it's a
boy.
loaner
All right.
car.
But,
Yeah.
all right. I mean, there's all shit on the seat. All drugs on the seat.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't joking. I have an appointment on the 17th.
All right.
I'll crack a window for you in a second.
Thank you.
This body cam footage captures far more than a high-profile arrest. It shows officers responding first to what appeared to be a medical emergency, transitioning into a criminal investigation once evidence became visible, and ultimately balancing public safety, compassion, and accountability throughout the encounter. The officer remained calm, explained his decisions, coordinated with EMS, documented evidence, and repeatedly encouraged treatment while still enforcing the law. Regardless of anyone's public position, incidents like this remind us that addiction can affect anyone, and that transparency is a critical part of maintaining public trust. Now we'd like to hear from you. Do you believe the officers handled this situation appropriately from beginning to end, or would you have done something differently?
Matthew Riley faces a drug possession charge. He's resigned from his position as chairman of Cranston's Republican Party, and he's in rehab. The mayor of the city has urged him to step down from city council, and he's done so publicly. Riley will be back in court next month.
If you found this breakdown as intense as we did, hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more real-life body cam breakdowns.